How much does that actually cost to start up your own mobile IV therapy company? I'm going to answer that today, and also how much you will more than likely be paying monthly thereafter. So, I'm Tiffany. I left bedside. I have my own mobile IV therapy clinic, and I also help nurses be able to start their own. I always talk about how mobile is the route to go because it has significantly less overhead costs than what you have doing a brick and mortar, but also it's easier to staff because you're mobile, so you're kind of like on call for the days that you make yourself available, or you hire nurses and have them work the days that you can't. Also, it's a lot less overhead monthly, and it just makes it a lot more less stressful instead of having a brick and mortar and being like, oh my gosh, I have to do 20 infusions this month in order to cover all of our bills. So that's why we'll always be mobile, and that's why we'll always educate it. So let's break down, how much is it to start up your own infusion business? I tell everyone it is between 10 and 15,000, and I'm going to break down where I get those numbers and what it is going to be spent on. So start up 10 to 15,000. Your biggest cost is more than likely going to be the lawyer. I always highly recommend you get a lawyer and a certain type of lawyer, and I go over the things that they should be helping with, like making sure that you are staying legally compliant for your state to protect your license. In my course, I go over the specific things that they will help you with, but along with the other small things, like they can type your consents up for you and the operating agreement. There's a whole list of things that they can help you with. Some of it you can do on your own, and that will save you money. If you don't feel comfortable with it, just have the lawyer do it. Some things are a must, they have to do. A lot of clinics won't do this. They will skip this step, and I'm telling you this, IV therapy is becoming a lot more cracked down on. So these nurses' license are potentially at stake because a lot of companies do not have their structure set up, and that's scary. So the lawyer is going to be the most expensive. Then you're going to have about $1,500 of supplies. You have a lot of one-time things that you're buying, and then you have a bunch of, just buying the supplies that you need, like the IV start kit, the, alcohol swabs, your carriers that you're going to use. I'll do a whole breakdown on my next video of what I take with me to my actual infusions, where I got it, all the nitty gritty. You're also going to have like your IV poles, your storage, your stainless steel startup table that you have to do to be technically compliant. It doesn't have to be stainless steel, but for mixing you need a non-porous surface. So stainless steel is that, so it's just easier to do that. But it's about $1,500. A lot of people will go wrong. They will over order on stuff, and they kind of overestimate how busy they're going to be. I highly recommend buying kind of the bare minimum, and if you need more, you can always order them. That's better than them expiring and you having to throw stuff away. Next is going to be somewhere between, I would say, 600 and 1,000 on vitamins. I would be very cautious on these, just because from the time you pop the cap, normally you're going to be buying multi-dose vials. And so from the time you pop the cap, they are good for 28 days. So if you don't pop the cap, there's like a best if used by date on it, and normally they're like within a couple months. But I would not buy as much, because it's better to buy more, because a lot of them can ship them to you either overnight or in 2 days. That's something I would definitely not over order. That is something that nurses do a lot and then end up wasting it, and that is so painful when you're just starting up and don't have all the excess money to just throw away. Next is going to be filing your LLC. This is just making your business official within your state. Normally this is only about $100, and then you have small little fees here and there for setting up. Like if you're going to use Square as your payment vendor, they charge, I think it's $65 to actually order the Square cube. And same with if you're getting set up with a Sharps company, normally they just have like maybe $100, $200 fee just to get set up. So there's small things here and there, but the next biggest thing is going to be your malpractice insurance. You pay for that. Normally you pay the whole year. So it's, I would say, about $1,500, give or take, and that will cover you for the whole year. So I would just figure that in your initial startup. That's what we do. It makes it easier, less stress on you. $1,500, give or take. And then website creation. So this, you do have some leeway. There is a lot of websites now like Wix. You can just Google. There's a lot of websites that they actually already have templates. So if you're kind of technical or you have time just to research on Google how to do it, This is actually what I did. You can build a super basic website. Your website does not need to be anything crazy. It can just pretty much needs to list your services, who you are, where you're located, and that really helps for whenever you're creating your Google profile. You can link that and it's easier for them to find you. So you can do that yourself, or you can hire someone. Websites are not cheap. So I kind of guesstimate somewhere between like $500 and $2,000. I know it's a big difference, but it kind of depends on how much help you need and how kind of like fancy you want it. The cheapest way to do it, and this is actually, I highly recommend it, if you can if you know what you want in each area on your website. So for example, if you're like, my colors are blue, white, and pink. So you can tell them, like, if you hire someone on Fiverr, this is a website that people just freelance pretty much anything digital, but they can also create websites. If you find a website that you really like and kind of use it as like you want it done similar, I would save that, and you can send that to the freelancer even before you start. They'll have their price, and then you can also tell them, I would go to Canva or go to Google and just type in like, I want the about me and this. Next, I want I want this picture beside it. If you do that and also send them like a visual of what you're going for, a lot of times they can duplicate that very easily. And so that, like, you know, some people want more of that luxury feel with their website. Some people just want like very basic. That really helps the developer be able to know what you're going for. And the more you lay out for them, they can create it. And really, it's only a couple $100 to do it that way. So it's more work for you to have to lay out. But I think you'll be happier doing it that way because you're not stressing about having to make the website. This is what I wish I would go back and do. And I will do this at some point. And it really, you're not kind of like waiting on them to deliver and you're like, oh gosh, I hope it looks good, because you've already given them like a clear outline of what you're wanting. So that will also save you money on the website creation. And you could use some of that extra money just to go ahead and go to like Shutterfly or one of those and print out some like business cards or pamphlets that you can also hand out as well. The last thing is going to be, it's just small things. It's like, if you're going to have a business phone. I have 2 separate phones. This is just my OCD. I want my work and my personal phone just separate. But that is where you come up with the $15,000, 10 to 15,000. Your biggest cost, remember, is going to be your lawyer, and then supplies, vitamins, malpractice, and website creation. Everything else is just like very small amounts here and there that add up. So that is the biggest cost you have. Now, after that, how much do you have monthly? So I'll go over what we pay now. Right now, we pay monthly. This is our fixed costs. So we pay about $400. So it's very easy to upkeep. And what this includes is our phone, our tablet, because we have a phone and tablet for our business, just because if we're at an event, it's easier to have multiple devices to hand out just for people to fill out if they're going to do an infusion, their intake forms. Our sharps, we have an ad budget right now. It's only $150, but we have that, and then our charting system. I know that does not include the supplies or vitamins, but it's because it's not a fixed number every month. How I do it is, I know for us, it's like 28% of every infusion we do, I just set that aside for supplies. So that's kind of its own budget. So that's going to fluctuate. You know, some months if you're really busy, it's going to be higher. Some months if it's lower, then it's lower. So that's how it is. This is why I love mobile. Also, my patients love mobile. They love the fact that I can come to them. It saves them time. And especially if your patients are sick, do you really think they want to like get up and go to a clinic, especially where there, you know, maybe other sick people? That's something, but that is startup cost. Remember, 10 to 15,000 startup, and then you might pay, I'm just going to say $400 to $600 monthly, which if you break that down, that's only like 4, maybe 5 infusions. So it's very doable and a lot less stress of, oh gosh, are we going to be able to pay our bills this month? That is all on today. My whole channel, I go over tips and tricks for your mobile therapy startup business, and also things when you're up and going, how to save you money, tips and tricks. So like and subscribe for more.